I was born and raised in a little town called Big Sandy, Tennessee. Poor family. Both sets of grandparents farmed. I farmed with them until I turned 18 and graduated from high school. And when I did that, I joined the military. I joined the Air Force, and I went through what's called the Aircraft Maintenance Specialist career field. And I was in the Air Force for 20 years, so I stepped progressively through that specific career field to from apprentice to mechanic to supervisor to management level, and then I retired from the Air Force in 1995. I went home to Tennessee, moved my family back home to Tennessee, where I'm from. Couldn't find any work. And based on my qualifications, I was able to get work at Vance Air Force Base very easily. They contacted me actually within 15 minutes of my resume being faxed out there. And they wanted to interview me. I came out, interviewed, took the job. They offered it to me. And then over a period of just a few months, I was able to get my family out here. And I picked Hennessey to buy property and live here based on all the good comments I heard about the Hennessey school system, because I had two school-aged children, and my son Neil, he went to Hennessey and graduated in 2000, and then my baby girl Chrissy, she went to Hennessey and graduated in 2009. So, and in the meantime, I had worked on the Northrop Grumman team at the base, and I took another job in Oklahoma City for increase in pay. I taught school at Metro Tech Aviation Career Center for a couple of years. And then I was hired in to work for the Department of Defense as a civilian. And that began a second career for me, of which I basically retired from that in 2014. And my work in aviation did encompass quite a bit of travel, but me and my family, we have been living here in Hennessey since 1996. And as a Department of Defense civilian, I was educated and trained to work Department of Defense type contracts. And I bring that up for a reason. I think that knowledge and skill will help me on the board, working and dealing with contractors here on town projects. I think I'll bring a contracting knowledge that will help the board and even Hennessey citizens with the contracting process. But anyway, that kind of brings it up to, brings my history up to where I'm at now. I am retired. I plan on, living here in Hennessey. You guys, I'm an immigrant, but you guys aren't going to be able to get rid of me. My kids call this place home, and so do I. So does my wife, and then we're not going anywhere.
Well, I moved to Hennessey in February of 2010 from Fort Smith, Arkansas, and I am a father of 3 daughters. I have 5 grandkids, one on the way this month. Hopefully it'll be born, or next month, hopefully born on my birthday. But anyway, I work for an oil company. I'm 3rd generation oil field, so that's sort of my background. I've driven school buses. I've driven big trucks. I've done over-the-road hauling for a little bit. I've done a little bit of all of it. I do bookkeeping and permitting for Iron Eagle Resources, and also work for Chase Holder at Crimson Well Service out of the Longhorn office on Highway 51.
It's a little bit of a story. I'll make it brief. Back during our yard sale weekend, I ran into Keith Meek at one of the yard sales. And I know Keith. He went to school with my son. I asked him how it was going on the board, and he said that he let me know that he had just resigned. So I kind of put that in the back of my mind. A couple of days later, I overheard a couple of conversations with the mayor. He was thinking about temporarily filling Keith's position until they could get an election organized. And I thought about that for a couple of days, and then I thought, well, that would be a good experience for me, and I could fill in for Mr. Meek's vacancy and learn how the town operates and the rules they go by. And so anyway, I mentioned that to the mayor, and the way things worked out, it was discussed at the board, and the board actually decided to not fill the position temporarily and to go ahead and just leave it empty until the election. In the meantime, I thought about it more and more, and I decided that I want to go ahead and participate in this election and possibly get elected to the board as a 4-year term member. And what I would bring to the board, I think I stated it earlier on the first question. What I would bring to the board is a lot of contracting expertise. I have education and background in quality assurance on contracts, technical quality assurance. I have experience on both hardware and software contracting. And I have experience on both products and services in the Department of Defense. And that can be, the DOD goes by different rules and regulations than the city of Hennessey would, but a lot of the basic knowledge and information that I learned in that area would apply to what goes on here, and I think I could really help in the contracting realm of Hennessey issues.
When I'm asked that question, a lot of times the way I will answer that is that I got to thinking about the things that I might complain all the time. I might just complain. And one day I woke up and said, I just need to quit complaining and start trying to do something about things. And ironically, the position came available that an unfinished term came up. And I thought, well, that would be a perfect opportunity to get in there and sort of set in the back a little bit and find out what's going on, and maybe get some of my questions and some of the other folks' questions that live here as to why they do things the way they do and why they spend the money on what they spend it on.
The first thing I want to say to answer that is I view my role as, I want to say humble. I don't want to, I'm not going to, if elected, I'm not going to take a position on the board and go in there in an aggressive manner and try to be in charge or try to gain or establish any power. In my opinion, the board is representative government of the people in the community. And there's really no reason for any one individual to walk in there on that board and to try to have an overbearing personality or try to, I don't want to use the word bully, but aggressively force or change other members' minds into doing whatever they want that way. I think each board member should be able to think for him or herself and vote yes or no or abstain on any of the issues that come in front of the board. And another thing about the community, the people in the community, is I think I would be able to, accept their issues as information that I would need to present to the board for possible action. And everybody knows that even down to the town government level, the government moves slow. But hopefully, with some of these issues that we have, I'm talking things like infrastructure as an example, water, sewer. I'm not talking about recreating the wheel here. I'm talking about issues that are ongoing, and the board actually needs help help solving those problems.
That sort of goes along with, in my opinion, with sort of the title, a trustee. So you want someone to trust you, that you could get in there and they could trust you to voice their opinions, to find out answers to the tough questions. Whether you like the reasons, yes or no, or whatever, is just, be their kind of voice piece to represent them if they have concerns about issues that I could be sure that they're brought up and at least addressed and get an answer. It may not be the answer that any of us like, but at least that you get that answer. And it's not just the system that seems to be in place a lot, is that it's the old party, the good old boy system, and I know there's a lot of people concerned about that, and I have nothing against any of the existing members on the board, but I do think that there's some questions that aren't being asked.
First of all, I have fairly limited budget information as an outsider to the town government. I have attended the last 3 board meetings, and I know about the issues that were discussed in those meetings. I know that the oil field pullback, I'll call it a pullback, the oil field pullback or slowdown in 2018 was a fairly dramatic impact on tax revenue for Hennessey. And then skip 19 and go to 2020, and then the COVID-19 slammed the town again. And and both of those issues are still ongoing. As everybody knows, all you got to do is watch the news or read the newspaper. The COVID-19 combined with the oil field slowdown has really pulled back on our revenue, tax revenue income. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that neither one of those issues is going to go away anytime soon. So what we have to do on managing the available tax revenue money that is coming into the town is we're just going to have to be very frugal. We'll have to be very smart on how to manage the funding that we do have, and to make sure that it goes for very, very good projects to where we get our money's worth for the least amount of money, is what I'm trying to say. And that's the way I'll answer that.
I can't really talk on how much the budget is for each department, of course, yet, because I'm not privy to that information. But I do know that in some of the 1 to 5 year plans that they have, I do have some priority issues, I guess I should say. I am wholly behind the fire department and the police department. I think those guys deserve everything they need. The equipment, the fire department needs redone. The police department needs their protection gear over and above building or redoing a library, so to speak. Libraries, unfortunately, are kind of obsolete, and I can't see dishing out a lot of money for that particular case, other than if it's a safety issue. I also had seen some things that a lot of the monuments around town and some of the smaller parks, they're thinking about getting rid of those, and they quote safety reasons. I guess I'm of the opinion that this town is history. I mean, it's on the Chisholm Trail. And the downtown is not a modern-looking town. It is an older town, and we can build on that. And I think we need a Chamber of Commerce or something like that that can market this town.
Well, I'll tell the voters, the first thing I'll say is I've never ran for public office before. And, so yes, I would be a beginner at it. I would encourage people to vote. I would encourage people to vote even if they don't vote for me. We live in a constitutional republic, and voting is so important at the town level, state level, federal level. And I really, really encourage people to vote. Everybody in Hennessey that's registered should vote. And even some people that aren't registered need to get registered and vote for me or Frank. Frank Patton is running against me. Everybody knows it. And if Frank gets elected and I don't, I will support Frank's efforts and I'll help him any way I can. Let's see, and I will say, another thing that I'll say is I want people to remember what I said earlier about we won't be able to solve our problems instantly, but I will take the community's issues and problems and I will address them with the board, and I will team with the board. And I already know all the other board members, and you know, I feel like I can do a good job and have a positive impact working with those guys. And I have a sincere desire to not only keep the town of Hennessey like it is, but to hopefully seek, pursue, and gain new investment in our community. We've got some stuff going on in the northern part of town right now. I think it's already been in the paper about the Howdy Truck Plaza and some of the other businesses that Mr. Hayek is involved in getting into the town for us. And I would support those efforts 100%, and I would also support seeking even more new business for our area, for our town. And I will be a proponent of that from day one on the board if elected. And that's about it. I love this town. Like I told you earlier, I'm going nowhere. My family's here. If I don't get on the board, that's fine. I'll make positive impact by going to the meetings anyway and making suggestions.
I would like for everyone out there to understand that I am not a politician. I owe nothing to anyone as far as special favors, special interest groups, or anything like that. I want to be the good old boy next door that you can walk over, knock on my door, call me on the phone, send me an email, and just gripe if you want to. Just tell me what you want. And if you're afraid to go to the council meeting yourself, I'll be your voice or go with you. I'm there to serve you, not me.